Well, good morning, uh, America and the world. Like to discuss Lyme. Uh, been suffering up here for about 4 years, and possibly longer. Uh, they, my pup got tested positive 5 times, and 4 times or 5 times. Don't quote me. Find out for sure. Good vet, real good vet, and I don't know all the terms, so just bear with me. But there's a spiral key, there's some crap that not only the Lyme, the Barilla, but I think that's what it's called. But the spiral key was cured in my dog with vitamin C, good vitamin C. And it was a protocol that was suggested. And we put him on it, and believe it or not, in a couple of weeks, when I went back and tested him again, and he was fine. He actually ran it out of him. So anyways, I like to talk about Lyme. These ticks are so small, and they're so deadly. And I use the word bioweapon in my comments. And from what I've learned about this, this was in Germany, and to some extent, it was up here. From what I read, there was Native Americans up in this area that would avoid certain areas, knowing they were loaded with this Barilla. So this has been around. This has been around for quite a while, but I think people are getting really, really, really confused, especially the doctors. That, well, we got 3 things going on with the doctors. You got one that totally deny it and think you're nuts. You got 2 that doctors follow the CDC's protocol, which is bogus. We'll get to that in a minute. They're really interesting. And I'm so sorry. I will put into the comment sections, I will go show you some of the Lyme information that I had gotten, and how they're misguided. And it's really fascinating. And this is epidemic. This is epidemic. This is a bioweapon, and it's epidemic. And I watched a brand new video put out on March 18th last night, and I will find it and post it later in here. They're saying it's sexually transmitted now, and it's 6 times heavier than AIDS. And think about that for a moment. 6 times heavier than AIDS, and nobody's speaking out about it. The woman can pass it to the man can pass it to the woman. And it's got sterilizing effects. Now, some of you that are really real well rehearsed know Agenda 21's coming up. Agenda 21 is a population reduction by the New World Order down to 500 million people on this planet. And I myself question, is this just another key or another tool? So you got these problems with the doctors that some believe you're crazy, some believe, no way. It's so great to see you, girl. So great to see you. So great to see you. This woman has got a fantastic webpage. Fantastic. Definitely check her out. Very, very good webpage. And I can tell you something. I've been battling this heavy up here for 4 years. I get repeatedly, and I should have got a little more prepared. I got my calendars here. And about 3 years ago, I started catching them on me and pulling them out and scotch taping them to my calendar. And the ones that bit me, where they bit me, And so let's get back. I try to get back on this subject. So this is a bioweapon out of Plum Island, New York. When I went into the Army in 1978, I was a 13 Foxtrot. You can look that up. And I had biochemical, nuclear, ammunition, artillery, all four of them. We covered all four of them extensively. And when we went into chemical school at AIT, was pretty extensive. And the guy stood up and he had a Super Bowl in his hand. And he said, there's enough Ebola in here to kill everything on the planet. We were just sitting there looking at us. You know, he was saying, what are you worried about? Bullets or artillery and all this stuff in battle? And he says, well, I'm going to show you something. And he had this little Super Bowl, maybe about yay big. And he says, enough Ebola there to kill everything on the planet. Well, this bioweapons lab in Plum Island, New York, which I had an argument with was my primary care doctor, who was an absolute asshole. And we're not going to get into that too much, but she's arguing with me that it's Plum Island, Massachusetts. And I knew right then and there what I was dealing with. An arrogant, filthy person that wouldn't even listen. I gave her information on the Delmarva Lyme Association. Lyme Association of Delmarva or Lyme Association? No, Delmarva Lyme Association on YouTube. Very fascinating. And another friend in New York knew I was going back to the doctors to try to get some help for this. And what they did was he sent me a very, very good article. I don't think it was from the AMA. They showed 68% of Lyme tests are false negatives. Right then and there, we got a real big problem right there. If you're talking military, you can't find this shit. You can't detect this shit. You're in serious problem decontaminating your people. So my unit only applied this stuff, whether it was aircraft calling aircraft and whatever, bioweapon or chemical stuff like that. We didn't do the testing. They had a decontamination team that would come in and do all the testing and then give the medical cure for it. And we were going to Iraq to get our hostages back. They banned our wall lockers, put a living will on the top drawer, which would have been our sock drawer, and banned our wall lockers. And they were going to put us on a plane when we were going into Iran, to go get our hostages back. And we had vaccines. I think we had about 5 vaccines. And I noticed, and I don't have my paperwork, and there's no record of me being in the service. So this is really bizarre. But I remember that. I think it was a pink copy. And it was 5 vaccines, and 2 of them were X'd out. And I had a guy from Long Island and we had 3-man rooms. We had just moved into 3-man rooms. We were in open bay barracks for about a year. And I said, can I see your shot record? And we were so drowsy and so messed up that the doctors actually told the officers completely no formation, just go up and rest. And we all were sick, pretty sick, the way I understood, or my memory, I should say, my memory. And there's no need of me bullshitting about any of this shit, because I'm just trying to leave a legacy behind of a story of what happened to me. And I looked at his, and his was X'd out. What I know now about Lyme, I wish that I went and talked to somebody from California or someone from Nevada in my unit. And I didn't. I never did. So the other guy that I tested, that I seen his shot records had 2 of them X'd out, was from Long Island, New York. I don't quite remember. I don't remember his name. But anyways, I started to wonder, in the last couple of years, did they put a agent into us? New Englanders, anyone that served up here in New England? Did they put an agent? Because I've been very sick, very, very sick up here. And I've been battling it with tincture out of great Cape herbs, great people down there, and it has helped, but it hasn't ran it out of my system. And other people up here walk in the woods constantly. They're constantly getting bit, and it seems like I have a real tough time with it. I met one woman up here I met several people up here that told me 8-year battle. The doctors refused to treat it properly and decontaminate the person. So you get this weapons laboratory down there in Plum Island, in the way I understand it, and it was on 60 Minutes. It's not conspiracy. What happened was the birds got into the building, was a shambles, and I guess they knocked over the techs, the bioweapon techs, or got into them somehow, and then they flew back to the closest landmass was Lyme, Connecticut. And that's how Lyme got its name. And you can see the flourishing of what happened in the Lyme area of Connecticut. And it just, well, now this is global. And I've been seeing it's global. It's in almost every continent except Antarctica right now. And so it went from Lyme, Connecticut, all over the world. If this is a bioweapon, and a lot of doctors who know chemistry and biology will say, oh, well, he's crazy. But I think if you really understand what I'm talking about, you'll find good people that will connect it to the bioweapon. So these are GMO techs, basically, and their offspring become GMO. And they can make people very, very sick. Now, the people that live up here and grew up here all their lives, they were probably getting bit. Remember, this has been around since somewhere around the 70s. They can't footprint it. I think around the 70s or something. Think about being a little child out in the grass on a beautiful day and getting bit by one of these ticks. Do you build up immunity to it, being so young? And a lot of the problems that we have, maybe this was an offshoot of what this stuff really does. It's pretty bad stuff. Some of my problems are everything. It's just imagine. Well, you know, main girl, your immunity, believe it or not, and I'm a true believer of this, is CBD. The consumption of CBD. I don't think the THC, but I think the CBD is very, very, very powerful. And I know one thing. It attacks my lungs terribly. Now, I'm a heavy smoker. I smoke 20 non-filtered cigarettes in here a day, sometimes 40 on a bad day. And it's out of boredom. This whole cigarette thing, I refill this thing. And I know that isn't healthy for my lungs, but I don't smoke a filter and I don't use GMO tobacco with chemicals in it. And I do notice that a lot of time, well, this is mind blowing because I play the harmonica. I mean, how the hell can a guy smoke 40 cigarettes a day, get twisted up and blow through a whole song that's draw and blow? No, my rhythm might be off, but it sounds really good to me and the few people that have listened to me blow. How do I get this much wind? How do I get this much wind to sit here? Well, I noticed something, that when this stuff becomes prevalent and my cycle is moved to a 5-week cycle, I moved to about a 22-day cycle. Now I'm down to about 6 weeks. And when I smoke, I start hacking and coughing, and it don't matter what type of reefer. My reefer has seeds in it. I call it old man reefer. And I just let the stuff grow. It got males in it. Fine. And then my lungs clear right up. I stop. I just stop, not to be gross, but puking real deep, not puking, spitting real deep, getting a lot of that stuff up. Then I'm doing deep breathing exercises outside. As long as the air is clean and we ain't got chemtrails falling out of the sky, I'm good, man. And I'll come in here and blow my heart out. And that's pretty good. I'm not a young lad anymore. So I think the CBD goes in there and kills the bacteria, which I have trouble with in my lungs. So I have it in my lungs, I have it in my joints, and I have it in my muscles. Fibromyalgia was wrongly told by this so-called healthcare professional that your muscle pain of fibromyalgia. Well, I don't think they're fibromyalgia, and it moves. And then I get joint pain. This left rotated cuff back in, yes, very good. And I hope you're not using U.S. currency, the old silver dimes or quarters. You want to make colloidal silver. And just from what I know about colloidal silver, and it's really good, and I should be. No, don't ever use that. Because when they first came out with silver coins, I think in the late 1800, when you slid that silver across the when you slid that quarter across the counter to pay for your newspaper or your bread or whatever, they were losing too much silver. And I believe they added 5% nickel to the silver. You want pure ingot silver, and colloidal silver is very good. And I'm a ham radio operator. They got some really, really great power supplies, DC power supplies, that you can turn them down to a 1/2 a volt all the way up to 48 volts, I believe. So pure, and I should be having colloidal silver. I'm just so broke. I'm just so broke. I can't do nothing with myself right now. Buying a power supply and getting set up. Man, we're just trying to keep what we got together here. So hats off to you, main girl, and right on, and right on, and right on. And what other problems have I had? Lethargic. You could take 5 hits of window pane acid right now, and I have done that. I don't even know if I should say I did that. But you could take 5 hits right now. And when this shit comes in, you ain't that fucking confused. Excuse my language. I'm trying to do this without vulgarity. But there's times I want to make an egg and I'm looking for the spatula all through the kitchen. And I can't find the spatula. It's right in front of me. And other times, like, I'm walking in the kitchen. Now, I know I'm getting old. I'm walking in the kitchen or something, or walking in here because I wanted to do something, and in that 30 seconds, I forgot what the hell I was doing. And the depression, oh my God, it is the most revolting. I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in religion. But if you believed in demonic, the word demonic. I mean, I don't have thoughts of hurting other people with this. It's just like you sit here and you can't pull yourself out of it. And it's really, really, really horrible. Chinook is really good. Like I said, I low grade, and that really helps a lot of the times to pull me out. And I should have been more prepared. So I'm just going over here and go get you a few things that I've been taking. And this is really, really good stuff. This really, really helps me, but it's very expensive. Remember, I can't get no help. I went to 4 doctors, and I'll tell you about that maybe at another time. So this bottle comes from Great Cape Herbs. It's about $200 delivered. And it has teasel in it. This is a Lyme too. And I don't get paid from them, so I don't want anyone to think I'm just saying this for shits and giggles. So he added the teasel. And if you're a real backcountry person and really do like Maine girl, you can find teasel. That's burdock root. Those are I think the berries that get stuck on your dog. And the root is very, very powerful. In this, he's got rosemary and mullein. And that's what he adds to mine, because I believe the rosemary goes into the lungs. I take a teaspoon of this to a little juice glass full of palm juice. Palm. You got to get palm juice. Stefan recommends palm juice drinking this. Number one, it's pretty bogus tasting. About 20 minutes after I take this, in the same manner that I smoke a grassy joint and spit up all this phlegm, this does the same thing. And what else it does, I could be really, really tired, really tired. And it just alleviates so much of all that bullshit when the Lyme hits, that I get all this energy and I'm up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Insomnia is a part of Lyme. It's a big prevalent part of Lyme. So they made this and they threw this in. This is a tincture, and it's got TULSI, Tulsi, number 3. It's got lemon balm and mimosa. Now this is for the mood. This is for the mood. And I just found out yesterday I had this for, I think I ordered that bottle in October, and they threw this in to try to help me. And I really didn't understand it. Basically, what I was doing was just taking this and adding it to my teaspoon of this. And so we got a bioweapon going rampant. The CDC saying 3,000 to 5,000 infected a year. The alternative medicine is saying up to 3 million in the country alone, just in this country, 3 million. Now think about what I'm saying. This is 6 times more prevalent than AIDS. Look how we flipped out on AIDS. Look at how we flipped out on AIDS. My gosh. The whole world was in a turmoil over AIDS, which I believe was man-made to try to get rid of the so-called heathens that fucked one another, that had, intercourse with the same man, the Bible, don't lay with fuck another man, and all that bullshit. I don't give a fuck who you love in life. You should have the right to do whatever you want. And I'm not homosexual myself, and I have no qualms about people living a life and a normal life, getting health care and all the shit that goes with it. But if you read or watch some YouTube video, that looks like it's a bioweapon to try to go after them. They did this before with LSD in the 60s when people started protesting in these colleges over this filthy, I'm not even going to call it a war, the Vietnam experience. And they brought LSD in by the barrel loads, thinking these kids were going to burn themselves out. And it actually reversed on themselves and got more people awakened and coming together. And we actually stopped a brutal pile of shit. So that was the first attack. Now, if you think about what I'm talking about, this is a heterosexual thing. And I don't know how true it is. I watched a report, and I'll try to post it later on. I'm new at this, so I don't know how to bring it up on the screen. I don't care to see myself here yappity yap. I'd rather be running a good documentation here on what I learned. But this book called Under the Skin, I believe it's called, and I'll get all that information later. And now it's saying it's sexually transmitted. Both female and male can in oral too, and it's oral, and it attacks the reproductive system. So you got to. It looks to me like just a step up from AIDS, and they got 6 times more prevalent people with this in society. And And is this another assault to get us population reduction? I mean, if you run this stuff by 3 million people a year and pull them out of reproductive stage, think about what the population is going to do. It's going to start shrinking. So a lot of this stuff, people use the word conspiracy. Conspiracy in my world is without proof. And there's too much proof out there to be turning a blind eye to it. Simple things, at governors of New England rising up and demanding action. And if somebody's dog gets Lyme up there and up here and it's proven Lyme, that bill should be sent right to the Department of Defense and they should pick up the bill. The same with people. And I don't care how long you're struggling. The Department of Defense released this shit. They had no business releasing this shit or letting anything slip by them. And I think they should pay for it. And they should pay the state to put outlets out to have good trained people come up here and test people for free. Walk right in, get tests for free. And not make more data bullshit on them, but actually test them for free. The insurance companies don't want to deal with it. And in this video that I'll attach later, I don't want you to believe anything. Don't believe what I'm saying. Just go out and do your own research. But in there, they got documented data showing up near to 3 million a year infected. And so the doxycycline is the base. First of all, I like to tell you about doxycycline. Doxycycline is well known to be as cheap as aspirin. Aspirin. You can buy 1,000 doxycycline for the $35, $40 on the internet if you were a doctor. Very cheap. You go to Mexico. When I RV'd, I was down in Mexico on the border, and you could go right across there and bring a truckload out for a couple grand. I mean, stuff is ultra cheap. And, CVS charged me. I got a 21-day prescription from a medical person that wasn't a doctor. What do you call them? Like she's a nurse and can write prescription. And I told her, I says, this isn't good. Because you need to get 3 cycles, according to the Delmarva Lyme Association. You need to have 3 cycles covered with doxycycline. And if you're not doing that, then you're in serious trouble. Because what they did in the refusal to give me another 3-month supply, do you really think I want to be on doxycycline? This shit will destroy your main immune system, which is your digestive system. It'll kill all the bacteria in it. So the doctor should be having a protocol for this next 90 days on doxycycline of reinforcing the gut with good probiotics and really concentrating. And I always said what you should be doing is prescribing the doxycycline, a baseline, and then have that person tested every 3 days. Come in there. I don't know if you need a stool sample or how you do it, but make sure the gut still has good bacteria in it. And with a heavy dose of probiotics. Now you bring the probiotics up, you bring the good bacteria up. Now you can bring the doxycycline level up a little bit and then work it like that. And I think that's a way to do it. Colloidal silver and this this tincture, Great Cape Herbs, I think is a good remedy. For myself, I don't want to go, I'm too old. A young guy, I'm too old. I feel too old. And I've been beating on this for 4 years, which I'm not even whining about, because I met people that have been fighting this for 8 years and longer and repetitively up here. So for me, talking to, I got to be careful of what I'm saying, talking to the fella, talking to this fella, come up with 2 shots of penicillin, no doxy, or a very light dose of doxy, and this with probiotics. And it might be a way to run it out. But till we can test, it's very sad to walk into a vet with your dog, and in less than 12 minutes, he draws blood out of your dog, prepares the test, draws blood out of your dog, puts it in the test. I think the test needs 10 minutes to run fully. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. You know? And it's really sad because I would love, you know, you can't ask a vet to do that. You know, that's illegal. In a free, richest country in the world, fuck you. Fuck you, Mitt Romney and Donald Trump. Fuck you. Fuck you, Jeff Sessions, you cocksucking communist. All right, I gotta stop. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. Richest country in the world. And so the CDC is out there, and they got a 12-panel member that goes in between medical treatment and the insurance companies. And I believe the 12 panel has 7, I believe, insurance company representatives saying how and what they're going to do to treat this. I meet a lot of people up here, and one of the first things I noticed from my education about physically looking at somebody and having Lyme is some people have locked jaw. Some people have locked jaw. And that was one of the smallest symptoms. And I got a couple of neighbors that I notice when I'm watching them. And it doesn't happen in everybody. But these fellas aren't sick. And they walk through these woods in the dead of summer. I just skeeve. Dude, you're talking to somebody a bit right on my spine by a rattlesnake. About a 13-inch rattlesnake. That son of a bitch pumped me so much goddamn venom. It killed an average man. It didn't kill me. And the year before that, hunter virus in caves out there in Utah. Poking around in caves, hunter virus. And didn't go to the doctors. Didn't go to the doctors for either one of them. And, you know, I went to the doctors here because this is man-made. And I needed help with it. And I didn't get any. I went to 4 doctors. I went to the hospital up here because the fella, and I don't be careful, went to a walk in the summer. And I'm like, holy cow, please be careful. Check yourself for ticks. He says, oh, I already had Lyme. You just go down to this hospital, and I won't mention the hospital, walk into the emergency room, tell me you got Lyme symptoms, and they'll take care of you. Well, they didn't. They didn't. And I spent about 15 minutes talking to this receptionist who was telling me her sister struggled for 8 years. Now, I'm sitting there. You struggle for 8 years, and you work in a hospital. What is wrong with this picture? They don't care. They don't want to address it. And they refuse. They refuse because the CDC, their almighty God, says, no, this is bullshit. It's in people's heads. This is treason in my world. In my world, as a constitutional republic, flying a flag with no gold fringe around it, this is high treason. And if I had my way, the federal attorney general would start doing a roundup on this. And any doctor that was treating or not treating, either way, whether you were treating or non-treating, and it was a poor way of doing either, try him for high treason. Responsibility. We listen in this goddamn country about some poor people with no way out of it. And if you've been down to the Navajo reservation, or you've been up to Rosebud or Pine Ridge and see some of the poverty that I have seen, and no way to get out of it. No way. There's no jobs. Go get a job. Go get more jobs. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve is devaluating the dollar so much, they China this week announced that they're dropping the petrodollar. And if you don't understand your currency and you don't understand your tax base, you need to learn what I'm talking about. Your tax dollars federally do not go to pay for fucking people on welfare. Your tax dollar goes to the debt that the Federal Reserve prints notes, and that goes on your and every one of you birth certificate. And you need to learn this. So when I was born, my debt to this country, and I could only find rough estimated figure, it was about $1,500 to $2,200 debt. The way I understand my debt now, the last I heard it, I believe it was a Jimmy Dawes show, is $675,000 for every man, woman, and child with a birth certificate in this country. And then you got the holy rollers that don't want to believe this shit. What's it say in your goddamn Bible about the fucking debt? I had these fucking assholes come to my door with the Bible, and they're going to fucking, what do you call that shit? Fucking save my soul. And I'm not an argumentative man. So I says to him, I says, you hold that Bible there. You know, there are a lot of things in that Bible. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Both the Mormons and the Christians and the Jehovah's have been here. And say, what's it say in there? What's it say in there about debt? Oh, very bad. What's it say in there about debt? That isn't main girl coming to me saying, I need $5. Can I borrow $5? Well, that's cool. But when you're dealing with monstrosities of demons in an illegal Federal Reserve currency system and bailing fucking banks out, and that asshole down there, or wherever the bitch is from, fucking bailed the banks out, was $12,000 to $89,000. I can't get a straight figure on it of debt. And then you say, well, the banks paid it back. Did you see the goddamn receipt? You didn't. So what they're doing is they're floating the debt on us. And this all goes around. It all is connected. It's all connected. Because you have a fucking healthcare system, Obamacare, that you're trying to provide help for those who can't help themselves. And then you turn around when they can't afford it, fucking giving them a fine through the IRS. What are you in fucking insane? Fucking Soviet Union, goddamn communist China never had this kind of bullshit placed upon them. So when you get that malfeasance, and go look at my other video, if you don't want to watch me scream and swear because I'm trying to clean my shit up, go into my other videos. I don't know how to post it down the bottom, but I posted JFK's Secret Society speech. And I believe I posted Eisenhower's Industrial Military Complex speech. Watch these two goddamn speeches, and every fucking high school kid in this fucking nation should understand it totally. I don't give a fuck about the Romans. I don't give a fuck about anyone in this country but modern day shit. And go watch what they fucking said. Your fucking Thomas Jefferson told you, and he wasn't the almighty God, you know. That fucking nigga turned around and says, go west and rape the fucking Indian out of them. And they did. Sand Creek Massacre. Go look at that. Go look at Wounded Knee. Go look at Medicine Bowl up there and the massacre up there. They raped these fucking people under Christianity. Don't forget that. Number one. These motherfucking horsemen all had their Bible in their goddamn top pocket thinking they're righteous. That's why I don't participate in that fucking filth. And look what they did to the people at Standing Rock. So I got to get back on track here. So you got all this shit going down. You need to take one thing at a time and try your very best to understand it. Are you going to change things? No. You're not. You're probably not going to change things because you got worthless, ballless communists in the fucking Senate and in the House. A good majority of them. Let's talk about Orange Snatch. Let's talk about John Songbird McCain, a filthy communist fuck. Call himself a war hero. You know the real story about that? You don't. You don't. And if you're a Republican, right-wing Christian cocksucker, you're doing yourself and your fucking country a fucking great disjustice by not fucking exposing the real truth. No matter how it hurts your side, my side against your side. John McCain was in the Hanoi Hilton, talk like a fucking songbird. Go see the videos on here. So you put these people into your control grid for 40 years. Look at Harry Reid. Look at this fucking asshole Mitt Romney coming up. And Jeff Sessions, this might, if you're still watching Main Girl, this is applied to folks that like the devil's cabbage. The devil's cabbage. I think Jeff Sessions is waiting for Mitt Romney to take over Orrin Hatch's place. And I got a video of that filthy pig, Mitt Romney, talking to a dead man in a wheelchair about getting permission federally for reefer. And listen to Mitt Romney's fucking response. Big Pharma. Again, Big Pharma. They're going to kill us if we don't take control of this situation. And you can't federally. There's no way. They're communist fucks down there selling us out and have been. They haven't done nothing about JFK's fucking murder, which was Poppy Bush. They didn't do nothing about Kent State. I didn't even not know about that. And I might be skipping over a whole bunch of fucking illegal shit. So, Waco, Ruby Ridge, fucking 9/11, bailing the banks out. The list goes on and on and on and on. And you got the cream of the crop. The best thing for you to do is gain a hold of your fucking government, educate your governor, and stop from there and pull the 10th Amendment on these fuckers. And I'm not talking about a fucking violent revolution. I'm talking about we're not participating in your shit. We're done. So that's got to change because now it's turned into this bioweapon called Lyme. And it's prevalent. And people are getting sick all over the goddamn country. And 99 people ain't getting sick, but that one that's getting sick. What are we going to start alienating them like we did? What are them people? Them people that had all the bumps on them. They had colonies. They used to stick them in. I can't remember the name of it. It's a disease. Leper colony. Are you going to start treating these people like leper? How can you when everyone's carrying it? And it might be as simple as a Joyce and Dave Riley show called The Power Hour. Very smart people. Very, very smart. Bioweapons that go after your heritage. So if you got a Mexican and an Italian, you can bioweapon the Mexican to get very, very sick and nothing happened to the Italian. That's already in, it's here. So you understand that once you get the A agent in you, this is one thing. Artillery shells are made up in two sections, chemical and some bios. And the rounds shot over the target. And during that time, the two stop mixing, become very, very, very deadly, and then they're applied. And so if you got the agent in you from the tech, that unless you're somebody in the class of like Joyce and Dave Riley, those type of people, and fuck Alex Jones, he's fucking has been. Man did good work for years on 9/11 and exposing currency and doing that shit. But man, that motherfucker said nothing. He's on my shit list. I'm done with Alex Jones. But Billy Cooper, Joyce and Dave Riley stand out. Tommy Valentine, what was his name there? Jerry Brownfield, very good. And these people exposed what was going on. And then you got the Georgia Guidestones. Georgia Guidestones. Go look that up. I didn't add. There's just so much I would add down in the comment section to make your head spin. But Georgia Guidestone, and that's true. Billy Clinton signed this. Child burning, church burning, Billy Cooper. There's another religion. Fuck you, religion, organized religion. And if I'm ever in charge, you cocksuckers didn't separate church and state. You will never be tax exempt. Joel Osteen motherfucker down there and the rest of them like that. You will never be tax exempt. Never. You have not added nothing to this country. When these fucking Christians come here, they slaughtered the fucking Indians. They couldn't get along with them. They were so much better, but they had to slaughter the goddamn Indians. Or the native, or indigenous, who the fuck, I'm using the word Indians. And any of you Indians out there that find that repulsive, please forgive me. Just put it out of your mind and put the right label. I can't keep up with labels anymore. And we still done it in Standing Rock. Go look at the fucking water lady. The water lady, I think I posted that one down there in Navajo Reservation. You never seen poverty like this in our country. Never. I don't give a fuck if you've been to Chicago, fucking Detroit. You never seen poverty like this in our country. So you got this bioweapon, and it's called worthless eaters. That's another term you need to learn. And if you're not over that 75,000 tax bracket, right now you're labeled as a worthless eater. And under Billy Clinton, it's to be reduced. Those populations are to be reduced. It's called Agenda 21. It's not conspiracy. And he showed the world how vicious he would be by burning children in a church. There was no need of that. I watched him put Constantine wire up on this Standing Rock bullshit up there. Constantine wire in America. On fucking native land. Arresting. This over 300 goddamn natives might serve time. Never threw a rock at the pigs. Pigs. They're not pigs. They're fucking paid mercenaries in our country. Paid mercenaries. What's your Constitution say? You sheriffs out there who swear to uphold the Constitution, foreign and domestic, you got Tiger Swan, you got Halliburton. You haven't done a fucking thing to either one of them. I don't want to fight with anybody. I don't want to hurt nobody. I have no interest in hurting nobody. But Jesus Christ, you make good money. Come up with some cool fucking shit to fucking protest what's going on. Jeff Sessions, you know, the governor up here had a great chance, had a great chance. I'm going to use the word nigger to describe this man. That means cheap and disrespectful. It has nothing to do with skin color. I served in the army with mostly blacks, and I wouldn't want to serve with anyone else. And if you've been in the Georgia swamps for 4 fucking days, with chiggers and ticks and fucking rattlesnakes, beggars you goddamn for them. How about 25-foot alligator, motherfucker, in the dead of night on patrol? Never mind the fire ants and all the other shit go with it. So the last nigga we had come out, and he wanted to legalize pot, get it off a class 1 drug, and reefer. I like to use the word reefer. Marijuana is such a disrespect to this cannabis. And cannabis is in your Bible, and cannabis is in the Jewish Bible, say K-A-B-U-S, I think it's spelled. And read about that, the wonders of that. And these Christians, when you say, well, I like using grass, first thing comes to your sick fucking perverted mind is, no, I'd rather drink my Bud Light with fucking human genes in the goddamn shit. So he was going to legalize, he was going to pull grass off of, and I'll talk about it because the Lyme deal is so massive. And this is another massive story, the cannabis. And he was going to legalize it. And I wasn't a friend of any president. I don't worship an idol. I believe that if you can't solve your country's problem at a state level, you're in serious fucking problem. And he was going to announce it. And then he had the fence jumper get in the White House. In the fucking White House. In the goddamn fucking White House? How much these guys, cocksuckers, making? The Secret Service cocksuckers? How much fucking money are they making? Do you know they didn't even release the dogs? Do you know I had a dog once? And if you gave me the fucking money, ain't a goddamn squirrel getting on that fucking lawn. Never mind a fence jumper. And they didn't release the dogs. And my theory is this is the Illuminati. This is a secret society that JFK spoke about running things. And I got many more examples of that where I can show you in that man's administration, in that man's, including Standing Rock, and including the pipeline. So he gets in there. How would you feel if you were president of the United States, have two young girls? And I'm not fucking friend of Obama. But how would you feel if upstairs your daughters were sleeping? And you got some fucking nut getting in the White House. You're supposed to have the best security in the world. It's like the plane that hit the plane. Fuck you. It's Tomahawk cruise missile that hit the Pentagon. That fucking place had more goddamn cameras. They can watch a blade of grass grow. And we got one shitty picture. Something's really fucking wrong with that picture. We won't go there. I don't want to get off on that tangent. So he was going to pull reefer off a class 1 drug. This nigga that's in there now, I did post his, I think it's a minute and 45 seconds video on when he was on the campaign trail. And I didn't talk this way about this man. I didn't have hope for our country, but I listened to what he said. And he was going to get out of Afghanistan. He was going to take reefer right out of the hands of the goddamn federal government. He was going to build this wall. Don't build the wall. Don't ever let that wall be built. You know, especially you Christians that believe in the fucking bullshit, Noah's Ark bullshit. Here you got some religious figure bring in all the animals to save them from a flood. And you got this motherfucking devil worshiping cocksucker going to build a 1,300-mile wall. Let me tell you something. They invaded the Bundy's property for the desert tortoise. There is no goddamn millions of years possibly of animals coming from Mexico and migrating up into the colder regions of Arizona, Texas in the summer. Elk, sheep, goats, tortoises. They can't do that. They can't do that. And if we have a Fish and Wildlife Division, they know you couldn't control animals like that. You couldn't disrupt that. The Alaskan pipeline had big problems with that. And they actually had to re-engineer the Alaskan pipeline, the way I understand it, to accommodate the caribou migration. And there's a big migration both from southern U.S. into northern Mexico and back and forth. And so the wall was just a pile of shit. 68% of the illegals that come here on aircraft. And if they want to get in, they're going to get in. And putting a wall up is not the right answer. I don't think is the right. I think it's an abomination. Just have people doing their jobs down there. And that's a harsh desert, man. I don't know how much you people know about desert, but let me tell you, son, you got to have a balls like a goddamn elephant to think about doing 25 miles across that desert. Never mind 50 or 75 miles. I don't give a fuck how much water you're carrying. The fucking water's 130 degrees in your backpack. Unreal. So anyways, so he promised to do this, and I'm going back to main girl. I know there's a lot of people that wanted to keep it regulated so they could grow medical grass. And I think that's an abomination. I think it's an abomination. We shouldn't be paying no attention to have any law on this cannabis whatsoever. If you start spraying formaldehyde on your cannabis, and people start getting sick, then you should pay dearly. But if you're growing just fucking stout cannabis, we shouldn't even be mentioning it. And then to put a limit on it, you know, it's funny. This guy shoots his mouth off about the Negroes coming up here to fuck our Maine women and sell them heroin and all this other bullshit. Well, do you know what a fucking pound of fucking grass would be worth in New York City? Shit grass with 3 or 4% THC? You're fucking $2,000. Why are you holding the people back? Why are you holding back with the 6 plant bullshit and flying over their fucking houses? Why would you do that? There's poverty up here. A lot of it. Oh, you're not getting your tax dollars? Fuck you and your tax dollars. What do you think somebody get $4,000 tax-free selling grass is going to do with it? Like, fucking stuff it away or something? They're going to go buy shit for their house. They're going to probably incorporate fucking builders in the neighborhood to come over and do housework. What the fuck kind of mentality is this shit? It's fucking sickening to think that this fucking plant, after over 100 years, by true demonic motherfuckers, got the ball rolling. I would all suggest, and I'll try to post that if I remember all this shit. Reefer Madness. Go watch that propaganda. Reefer Madness. Now, when my mom and my pop grew up, they go for a nickel, 10 cents to go watch a movie, say Gone with the Wind. Before they go in there, before they see Gone with the Wind, they ran that propaganda. And it mind controlled a lot of those people to believe this was the demonics of all demonics. Put labels on this shit called devil's cabbage. What the fuck? Devil's cabbage? You're dragging religion into this shit, which is an abomination to my fucking separation of church and state, because you're making law on your sick-minded fucking thoughts about a cannabis plant. That's in your Bible. Hypocritical. Fuck you all. I was reading one last night. I watched a great video on mescalina. Mescalina. And the positive effects of mescalina. And how, and I learned something. The guy was shocked who did the video that it comes from peyote. And I didn't know that. But anyways, I'm not promoting drug use. So if I tell you to, something to do with OxyContin or something like that, this is not a drug. Drugs are man-made. When you pull a fucking plant out of the goddamn ground and smoke it, man had nothing to do with that, converting it. Some may say, well, if you turn it into hashish, technically, you got me there. But health-wise, hashish, blonde hashish, not the tar, the blonde hashish, through the mechanism of screening, is very appropriate. And you got places like Afghanistan where you can get Afghani blonde hash, Lebanese blonde hash. And I'll tell you, Viagra, fuck you, Viagra. You'd be out of business. You're so clean you don't smoke. You put this in a hot cup of tea, wonderful flavor, and drink it. You'll be banging your old lady like they do at 80 fucking years old without Viagra. So we got this drug bullshit going on in this country, and it's more of these insiders using welfare, and I call it welfare, and that's exactly what it is. It's no benefit to society. To keep these drugs off the street, because they're not drugs. They're not drugs. And neither is mushrooms, and neither is peyote. If you take peyote and you chemically take the mescalina out of it, then technically you made a drug. But if you eat peyote, and the native people have been doing this for thousands of years, recorded thousands of years before we came here with our Christianity. And we come and we change people. And we incarcerate so many people. We talk about welfare, not helping the welfare. Go get a job, you lazy slob, and all that shit. We got more goddamn people in this goddamn prison than Russia and goddamn red Chinese, the red fucking filth I growed up thinking both these red menaces were evil beyond belief. Fucking Russia and fucking China. We got more than they do in prison, incarcerated. And why is be very important slap in the face to the goddamn alcohol industry if the native indigenous people could smoke. Don't get caught on federal land with a fucking joint. Let me tell you right now. You want fucking federal land on a reservation, BLM land, Forest Service land, whatever. Don't get caught. I'm telling you. You fucking go see a judge on a joint. In the so-called Christian fucking Mormons in that cocksucking state out there will handle it like this. The judge will start screaming at you. No contest. Fucking, they searched my doormat or whatever and found this shit. And you weren't smoking. You weren't operating under the influence, which I think we should. Just drive through Boston and say, you know, every one of these motherfuckers should take a couple of hits of joint before they get in the car because these people are dangerous. Jesus fucking Christ. So, you know, I mean, that's about it. I want to wrap it up. I thank Main Girl for joining me. And she had real colloidal silver, very powerful. This mullein and teasel from Cape Herbs really is working well for me. My biggest problem is I still think I need man-made help. I need man help. See, this is natural, and I still think I need man help. But we can keep it at bay. But it's just so expensive for me. I mean, this is a big fucking burden on my life. Just buying a quart of this stuff. About $200 delivered to the door, and I don't take it. I spread it out. I'm like a poor person who has to choose between food and medicine. You know, them stories you hear, and I have to spread it out. So this should last me about 2 months if I take it properly every day, but I can't, and I go weeks without taking it. And so I had a real bad bout this week again. Come back. And knew my dog has been sick. And I took him down there and sure as shit. So Lyme, it's a bioweapon. It's designed to be here. If anyone tells you differently, don't get mad at them. Don't be angry at them. I'll try to post some of the good videos that I've seen on here if you want to learn more about Lyme. There's just so many people out there fighting this, and the CDC is not doing anything. They're not doing it. The doctors are too scared. There's been doctors that lost their license by going on a protocol like I want, of man-made medicine for a couple of shots and then run it down with this and maybe another couple of shots a couple of weeks later. All tested. We need to get that testing done. That's a problem. The testing is the biggest problem. So when we got radioactive, we're in war with fucking communist China. As an artilleryman, I'm up front. I got the boys in back of me. I got all the infantry. I'm setting targets out in front of me to bring all them boys in, try to keep them safe. And all them targets have certain, we sit there with the two other guys and we say, well, let's make this a 155 target because of this reason. Or let's make this a 4-deuce mortar target because of this reason. Let's make this an air support. And what we do is we bring them in and have them keep moving up. You target all this stuff. And one of the things that happens is decontamination. If you get in an area, say, for instance, radioactivity, you get the team come up. You get into your chemical weapon suit, gas mask, and then they come up and they decontaminate you. Whether you've been sprayed with chemical, biological, or nuclear, they have people there, and that's what we need up here. We need stout people to say, "Hey, wait a minute, something is awry up here," and you can hear it in my lungs. That is not a smoker's cough. That is not a smoker's cough. That's fucking this shit here. This shit here. I challenge any one of you people to think I'm out of base and ramble on like this and find the wind to ramble on like this and fucking harmonica blowing. My lungs get full of this crap, and then we run it out, and that's what I did. So I thank you all for watching. I hope you get something from it. I'll do my very best to post in here some of the information that I found. There's so many directions to go for treatment. A good medical doctor that will listen, Sanjay Gupe, I think that's his name. There's a guy in Maine. He's got long hair. He's a reefer doctor, a doctor who gives a very smart man. I wish I could have a talk with him. I really wish I could have a talk with him about this and how to battle this, because he's got common sense and he has no agenda. And that's the other thing. You're dealing with the 4 doctors that I had. One of them who gave me doxycycline for 20 days. If this was a trial of high treason, I would talk to that one person. The rest of them, I would put them in fucking prison the rest of their goddamn lives. The rest of their goddamn lives. I would never let them fucking people touch another soul. That's what I would do. I don't have any, I'm not going to go out and hurt these people. And I don't want you Malachite Jesuit niggas to twist my words around. I'm a peaceful, loving man. I have no ill will for anybody. But in a court of justice, I put the motherfuckers in prison the rest of their lives. And then I'd take their insurance company for just myself, $30 billion for every year I suffered. And I would take that money and get the good doctors and start a franchise on how to treat this shit, because this is what this country needs. They need good, educated, well fucking common sense. They don't suffer from cuntism. I'm going to use a language now, cuntism. And it has nothing to do with female vagina. And I'm repulsed that the blacks think they own nigger, and I'm repulsed that the women think they own cunt. Cuntism. Can't understand normal thinking. And if your old man calls you that, that's an abomination and it's a disgrace. But when you got doctors that turn an eye for greed, for profits, that's pretty bad shit in my book. We're willing to put someone in fucking jail all over this country, and there's people that serve time for a joint this goddamn bit. Did you know, real quick, Nevada, I was taking care of a camp, volunteering many years ago, and I got a Burning Man, what to do's and don'ts, I think it was, for Burning Man. And in there, there was 2 pages in there about cannabis, 2 pages. And on BLM property, you may serve time for this. Over an ounce in the state of Nevada, which they smartened up. Utah didn't. You got that filth in there running things. Over an ounce. Mandatory fucking life imprisonment. Mandatory life imprisonment. Think what I'm saying. I know a lot of you don't smoke pot and a lot of you don't hate pot, but can you imagine the abomination of taking a good man or a good woman that works hard to try to support themselves and put them in life in fucking jail, or even a fucking minute in the court system over a fucking joint? You guys take care. I hope you enjoyed the video. And again, I want to thank Main Girl Genetics. Go check her out. She's got some great, great, great videos. And she's a marvelous woman. I used to watch her for a long time. And she does some really, really great work. We're kind of on a different ends of the scale, though. I'm not looking for high THC rate, and I'm looking for 3 to 5% with seeds in it. And it's just the way I like to smoke my grass. And I find it more flavorful, and I find it kind of, I mean, if you, in my, and there's medical reasons why you need higher THC. I'm not saying that, but for myself, the CBD, the higher CBD really helps me. And I'm not knocking somebody trying to grow 30% THC in their plant at all, because there is a medical use for it. And if there isn't a medical use and you can handle that, I'm an old man. I go hide under the bed on a couple of tokes of that shit. And we're going to get that stupid, man, let's have some steak and mushrooms maybe, if you get my drift. So try to enjoy life. Don't be stupid. Don't turn your eye to truth. That's one thing. If you're religious, God wouldn't want you to turn an eye to truth and expose maniacal tyranny. And let's all try to work together and have a much more better life. That fool says, going to make America great again. Jesus Christ, they just cleared out the consulate in Seattle, 60 fucking Russians. We're going back to the Cold War. This isn't good, folks. It isn't good. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, this filth is in there to disrupt, to create fucking chaos out of design. So you guys all have a good day. Love yous, and thanks for subscribing, watching, and everything else. 73s.